So Grenada is the most wonderful place on earth. They call it the Isle of Spice, where everything's nice, because most of its exports are in spices like nutmeg. Nutmeg is a symbol on their flag, and you can just find it everywhere on the ground, right? And so that's kind of their claim to fame is the spices there. They've also got really, really beautiful beaches, you know. It's a pretty small island. There are about 110,000 people who live there. And to get from the southernmost point to drive on a windy road to the northernmost point, it's about 25 miles. So it's pretty small. And most of the population lives on the southern part of the island. St. George's is the capital. And then you have a couple cities up north, but the majority of the population is down south. If you live up north, they call that living in the bush or in the countryside is how they call it. The culture there is just so interesting. It's a lot different than the States. They're very open and they're very willing to talk to you and to share with you and to invite you in. They're not very warm about it, but that's just kind of how, once you get to know them, you realize that's just their mannerisms, right? I think as Americans, we're super friendly and smiley, and we always like to show our affection and stuff, and they're not like that. They're a lot more reserved, is probably a better way of saying it. They're very reserved. I just call Grenada like the Rasta Island. So Rastafarianism is this big thing there. Bob Marley and, you know, the red, yellow, and green colors for that kind of culture. That's really, really strong there. That whole, just really laid back, really easygoing. So it's pretty cool. I think my favorite thing about Grenada, of course, was just the people. They just have really good hearts. They're awesome. I was in really poor areas the whole time, and it was just really cool to work with those people who oftentimes just had really good attitudes despite the circumstances they were in. They're very, very religious. No matter what their circumstances are, they always give thanks to God and they always praise God. And you'll say, well, how do you know God's real? And they'll say, well, I had breath this morning, you know? Just really good attitudes. So that was pretty good. It's also a hard place to serve. And this applies to the whole Caribbean because their lifestyle is just at total odds with the principles of the gospel. Most people smoke weed, which has to do with the Rastafarianism, right? And the dreadlocks, they like to do that. But when they receive that witness of the gospel, it's really cool to see what they're willing to do to change. So it was a really, really awesome experience living there.